What's going on, everybody? Super Saiyan Polar back at it again with another news, information, and update video on Dragon Ball Super. If you guys don't want to be spoiled as to what's going to be happening down in the realm of Dragon Ball, make sure you guys click off the video right now. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. Guys, what we learned from Akira Toriyama himself today at the Jump Festa news is that Dragon Ball Super will be continuing in 2019, and he gave us very vague information as to what's going to be happening, but we do know that we're going to get more Dragon Ball Super in some way, shape, or form. There's 3 different types of forms you can get of Dragon Ball Super that we all know and love right off the start. There's other ways as well through the video games, which one is going to be releasing in April, being Dragon Ball Super Heroes for the Switch. But for 2019, the main things that are going to be happening, as of right now, we already are getting more Dragon Ball Super in the form of the manga. In chapter 43, we're already getting into the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc, and we've seen Moro, and we've seen what his abilities are. We just don't know if this is what we're going to be continuing to get in the form of Dragon Ball Super content, but I don't believe that this to be the case. What I believe to be the case is that they are going to be working on the series or a new movie. Akira Toriyama himself said, hey, I'm working on the next one. Now, what this could mean is either he's directly focusing on the movie or a series. And depending on how the manga goes, because we're in a very weird spot right now, we don't know too much of what this arc is going to entail, how fast things are going to go down, if it could be fit in the context of a movie and do it like this, or a series, because there's a few drawbacks if you make a series. The main drawback of making a series would be the recap. If you've seen the original Dragon Ball Super in the very beginning, they had to recap both movies. And what they did with this is cause a lot of backlash from the very beginning of the series. A lot of us expected the first episode of Dragon Ball Super to be probably what turned out to be the 28th or 30th episode, if I'm not mistaken, in the series, starting off of where the movies left off, because how could you really think that they would surpass what they did with the movies in a series budget? It just doesn't make sense, but it does make them money. As well as what they did with Boruto, they did the same exact thing. Mind you, sometimes some of the moments are good, it builds on detail, but I feel like that's a cop-out. I feel like if they're gonna start a series right now, start it after where they left off with Broly, because this is one of the greatest hits they've ever had for Dragon Ball, one of the greatest Dragon Ball Z movies ever, and the best movie according to most people. And for them to go and redo this in a smaller budget, they just wouldn't be able to match it. So they have 2 options on the table here. Either you continue the series after, you continue the series with a movie, and if you choose the 3rd option, which, I mean, it's a hidden option, you just recap it, that's going to kill a lot of the hype. So they have those 2 main options I see there, and depending on the length of how long Moro's chapter is in the manga, I have a feeling that that's going to be what directs them into the right direction with how they're going to handle this, because if they do the manga first, like they always do, then they're gonna catch up with the anime very fast. They're actually way quicker at catching up with the anime with the ideas, rather than having to do the manga and then like leaving it for years at a time. So doing it that way, it just gives like a format of where we should direct it, but it's not gonna be the direct blueprint of the series like with other animes and mangas, because usually, like, even with, like, let's go back to the old school days where the manga would be so far ahead and then the anime would play catch up, and then it would finish usually with the manga being first, then the anime. But with Super, they surpassed it so fast. They've been finished with Super for months now, but the manga only ended a few of them ago. So it's very weird with how that works, but regardless of the fact, if I was to take a guess, I would say that he is going to be working on a movie. The perks of working on a movie would be because, 1, the marketing for it is just insane. Like, literally, the hype around Dragon Ball Super movie Broly was some of the most hype I've ever seen for a movie in general, especially an anime movie. So seeing the amount of hype that built up for it, the amount of things they probably sold off of it, because in terms of DLC, action figures, all of this, they've probably been flying off the shelves. And the perfect time to release the movie too, around Christmas time. So that's everything really worked out for Dragon Ball Super Movie Broly, and having some of the best animation ever because of the movie budget and the hype all forming into one thing, and continuing the story that they had built throughout the series. Everything just went perfectly for Dragon Ball Super Movie Broly, and in a movie format they have way more time to plan everything out without causing too much chaos. And it depends on the profit margin, I would guess, because what they've done this year is they've shown that they can take, what was it, 9 months off, because Dragon Ball Super ended in March. So they took 9 months off, give or take, with no content coming out for the Dragon Ball Super series, drop a movie, and it just blows up. So that's what they basically proved here. So with the movie, they can drought us for like a year or so and then do it again if they wanted to. It depends on where the profits are. But if they were to cause a series to come out, I'm pretty sure the reason why they wouldn't announce it right now is because, one, the movie is still out in only Japan. It's not out in America. So why would they try to promote the series while they're still trying to promote the movie? They've done everything near picture perfect with Dragon Ball Super, the movie Broly, and I don't think they would want to mess it up right now by just saying, hey, the series is coming out soon. I think they would wait till after it airs in America in the English dub. This way, the promotional campaigns can die down, and now we have a chance to see if Super is coming back as a series. And my guess as to when it would come back would have to be during the summer of next year. I'm guessing, if I was to make an educated guess, it's either the summer of next year, or they're going to be coming out with the movie, or they delay the entire year in its entirety. Because, I mean, usually Dragon Ball content comes out during the summer. They did the same exact thing this year with Super Dragon Ball Heroes, the side story, but that's just my educated guess. I would wait until closer to the summer to wait for announcements, but for now, Dragon Ball Super content is going to continue. And right now, I'm not sure if it's going to be a movie or a series, but at least we're getting one of the two. As a huge fan of both, I actually wouldn't mind either or. Both have their benefits and both are amazing in their own right. I think if you were looking at it in the long-term perspective and looking back on Dragon Ball, if they did it in the form of movies, all the animation is going to be quality. Everything's going to be thought out by just geniuses over there at the headquarters. And if you guys have ever seen a Dragon Ball movie in person, the experience you get is something you wouldn't really find anywhere else. I've been to like basketball games, and the amount of energy you got from the Dragon Ball movies in the actual theater, it's absolutely insane with the amount of hype in there. So that's just one of the perks of just doing them movie by movie. If you do them by series, and that's still just as good in its own right as well, because every Saturday night, all of us would come on the platform here, and everybody would just line up and be ready to talk about Dragon Ball, and everybody would be waiting for that Saturday night for that episode to drop, especially when it comes to those big fights, that Jiren versus Goku final fight, that fight night. That's what we all look forward to as Dragon Ball fans, and it became a culturistic thing where we would all wait for the episode and talk about it, and I absolutely love that. Mind you, I feel like with the series, there was a lot more negative as well, because there's a lot of things that they do, such as filler, bad animation, and there's some things that people don't really understand why they would do in terms of like trying to argue with power levels. While with the movie, I feel like there's a lot less backlash. I mean, with the past 3 movies, you think about it, Dragon Ball Super Movie Broly, Resurrection F, and Battle of Gods, I don't really remember too much negative feedback at all, if any, about those things, because we were all taking them... We weren't taking them for granted. That was the thing. When you got those movies, especially the first 2, you never knew if a series was coming out. So it was like, hey, this is more Dragon Ball content years after there was nothing coming out. And we were all grateful. And now we have Dragon Ball Super Movie Broly. They basically did the exact same thing. And for them to leave it up in the air, it's going to make us that much more grateful. It's going to make us that much more open-minded to what they're going to do here, and hopefully it removes some of the toxicity that happened with Dragon Ball Super the series, and they don't repeat some of the same mistakes. So I see this from a very tactical point of view, and tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Would you guys prefer them to do it by a Saturday series where every week we'd line up and watch it online and find a way to like talk about it, or would you rather them just take their time, do it movie by movie, create one massive hype wagon, and you guys can wait maybe the entire year for one to come out, maybe 2. It depends, because I actually liked getting things series, but in a series weekly, because the hype would just keep on one big train. And even if there was filler, at least you felt safe knowing that Dragon Ball was still around. When Dragon Ball's not around, it's weird for me as well, because it's like something from your life is missing, and it's hard to cope with filling that void. But when it's there, it's like a comfort cushion. Even though there's some episodes that make you rage, it's still there. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Dragon Ball Super will return in 2019. Smash that like button, subscribe for more. I'll be seeing you guys next time. Turn on notifications. Peace.